here you are, 24 years old, not knowing what the future held and how you surrendered in that.
Benny Hinn's appearance on Daystar Television Network's flagship program, Ministry Now, has become the latest flashpoint in a family and corporate succession battle that has quietly consumed one of the largest Christian broadcasting networks in the world. The veteran televangelist, a longtime friend of the network's late founders, sat down with hosts Rachel Lamb Brown and her husband, Josh Brown, in an appearance that some commentators have since read as a pointed, if indirect, statement on who should and shouldn't be steering Daystar's future. To understand why that appearance drew so much attention, it helps to go back to May 7, when Joni Lamb, the network's co-founder, president, and longtime public face, died at 65 following a rapid decline in health tied to a back injury. Joni had co-founded Daystar in 1993 alongside her husband, Marcus Lamb, who died of COVID-19 complications in 2021. Before her own death, Joni had put a formal succession plan in place with the network's board of directors, meaning leadership passed not to any single family member, but to an executive leadership team overseen by the board. That structure became especially significant given the state of the Lamb family at the time of Joni's passing. Her son, Jonathan Lamb, once widely viewed as the network's heir apparent and a former vice president at Daystar, had been fired from the organization back in 2024. Jonathan and his wife, Susie, maintained the dismissal was retaliation after they went to reporters about what they described as a troubling culture within the network, and separately alleged that Joni and Daystar leadership had tried to cover up an allegation that their young daughter had been sexually abused by a family member. Daystar said it investigated the claims internally and found no evidence of wrongdoing, and police in Colleyville, Texas, later closed their own investigation without filing charges. The dispute left Jonathan estranged from his mother in the years before her death, a rift that never fully healed. That left Jonathan's sisters, Rachel Lamb Brown and Rebecca Lamb Weiss, as the family members who remained visibly active within the network, with Rachel and her husband Josh continuing to host programming on Daystar in the aftermath of Joni's death. It's against that backdrop that Benny Hinn's appearance on their show took on extra weight for viewers already following the succession drama closely. During the interview, Hinn didn't reference Jonathan, Rachel, or the family dispute by name. Instead, he spoke broadly about ministry, ownership, and legacy, themes that have defined much of his own reflection lately as he approaches his mid-70s. He talked about being pushed into ministry at 24 years old, not fully understanding what the future held, and described that moment of surrender as the first lesson he ever learned about how God works through people. He emphasized repeatedly that ministry doesn't belong to whoever happens to be leading it. When God calls a ministry into existence, he said, that calling outlasts any individual, adding pointedly that Daystar itself was called by God and would keep moving forward regardless of who sits in leadership. Hinn went on to share advice he said he received decades ago from a woman named Marion Pointer, who told a then-unknown young preacher that fame would eventually come, but that he should never forget where he started, quoting the biblical account of Samuel warning Saul to stay little in his own eyes even after being chosen by God. Hinn said he's carried that warning with him for over 50 years, framing humility, not platform or title, as the real test of whether someone is fit to lead a ministry. It's that framing ministry as something no one individual owns, paired with his platform, that fueled speculation that Hinn was sending a subtle message about the Lamb family's leadership fight, even without naming names. Adding to that read, commentators have pointed to Hinn's history with Daystar, noting he's appeared on the network for decades and maintains close relationships with its current on-air personalities, including Rachel and Josh. To some viewers already tracking the succession dispute closely, choosing to appear on Rachel's program, delivering a message about ministry belonging to God rather than any one leader, felt like more than coincidence. It's worth being clear, though, that this remains interpretation, not confirmed fact. Hinn never mentioned Jonathan Lamb, never endorsed Rachel or Josh by name, and never publicly weighed in on the family's inheritance or leadership dispute directly. What actually happened is more subtle. A respected elder in Christian broadcasting sat for an interview, spoke about humility and calling in general terms, and left viewers to draw their own conclusions about what, if anything, it meant for a network still working through the fallout of losing both of its founders within 5 years of each other.